thanks for tuning in. This is Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And today, thanks to my friend, the one and only Barbarian, we will be taking a look at the new Transformers Generations Combiner Wars Leader Class Megatron. Now, while it is the Combiner Wars, as far as I know, this does not combine with anything or have anything combined with him. It's just a separate piece, but that's kind of the subline that they're going with here in the Generations bit. But this is Megatron, and everybody has been very excited about this, and I am no exception. This guy looks terrific. Now, there are two different versions of Megatron. This is the G1 looking Megatron. There's another one that's done to resemble Megatron from Armada. Now, I probably am not going to pick that one up just because I could care less about Armada. This is the one that I'm really excited the most about, and I think this is where I'm going to stop. But this is great. For the packaging, you can see you got the nice black, that kind of background with Transformers along the side. Got a nice artistic image here of Megatron that kind of wraps around. Well, no, actually, it doesn't wrap around. It's that image, and then it's the same image right here that you see much larger. You got Combiner Wars. This side just has the Autobot Comet, and then you come around here to the back, and you see that he transforms in 15 steps. You got his robot mode as well as his tank mode, which I think works perfectly for him, especially since in the new comics he is a tank. And it says that there was a time when the name Megatron was honored by many across Cybertron, but power inevitably corrupts, and none are so powerful as mighty Megatron. Long ago, he forgot he was a hero and became nothing more than a tyrant. The war he launched eventually drained his home planet of life. Not even the death of a world could sate his hunger for conquest. And then you have it in French and Spanish. There for the packaging, that's about it. As you can see, it is a leader class figure, but he actually looks a little bit bigger than the leader class figures that we're kind of getting used to here. And by that I mean leader class Jetfire mostly. He definitely looks bigger than that, so we'll see. But for the packaging, that's about it for him. So without further ado, let's get him open and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have the leader class Megatron opened up out of his packaging and in his tank mode. And I really gotta say that this is a really cool look for Megatron. Now, he's not a gun, and I do understand where, people are still a little kind of butthurt, I guess, about not getting him as a gun, but I think as a tank, it's basically the next best thing. I mean, I really don't think we're ever going to get a handgun version of Megatron again, unless they decide to do a masterpiece one. And that being said, a tank alt mode really does kind of fit this guy's personality. And this is a very well done figure. You can see great paint on here. It's a very nice reflective silver, almost to the point where I would expect this to kind of be a Takara version. I mean, it's just that well done in terms of the paint applications. And a lot of times, tanks just come across badly done if they're not done right. I mean, it's either they're really, really terrible, like Galvatron, or they're really, really good, like this guy. As you can see at the top here, he does have an extra gun. It always seems weird to me to give Megatron an accessory that's a gun, but it can combine with Combiner Wars, right? And it kind of creates this little missile pod thing here, and then a separate gun. They just are on little pins, and they post in right there, and then you can just take this whole thing, tab this together, and yeah, you give Megatron a handgun. That seems pointless when this entire thing is going to become his fusion cannon. But you do have that. His turret does rotate. It can go 360 degrees, which is really nice. It can't angle up, though, unfortunately, so you're just going to have him pointing forward, and that kind of stinks. But again, this is all going to be his fusion cannon. It's all one piece. This section here can collapse down, but I mean, that's just as part of the transformation, but you can't angle it up. I do kind of wish that they made it where you could pull it out and maybe swivel this up a little, but I do understand why they didn't. Yeah, that probably would add to the part count and maybe make him a little bit more expensive, something like that. I don't know. I do love the fact that they actually gave him real rubber treads, and he goes very, very nicely on there. I don't know how well you're able to actually see that, but that's really very cool. I typically don't like rubber being used on figures just because over time everything cracks. I don't know why, but it always the case with every figure that I have that have rubber tires or something like that. It cracks. So that does worry me over time, but that effect is really very cool, and it's a touch that I didn't expect, but I think that they implemented very nicely. Now, he does have a missile. You just push this
down, and it shoots out this little red missile, and that's about it. Put that right back in there, and then you just got a little red nub right there. But overall, I mean, very, very nice. You got the nice Decepticon logo there. You come around here to the bottom. A lot of robot junk. I mean, you can see his thighs. There's his head backwards. There's his fake chest. But all in all, it doesn't, when you look at it, it's like, that could be something, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a robot. So they do a really good job, I think, of disguising him. And even though he is a leader class figure, he is still with the whole simplified transformation kind of mindset. So to do that, first what we're going to do, come around here to this side. These bits right here, we're going to detach, rotate that. Actually, you should come around here, loosen this up from the back section here, just get that out of the way, and then you can rotate these pieces around and they will lock into place just like so. Do that on this side as well. Just pull that out, rotate that around, push that in, lock that into place, come around here, rotate these down, and there you have his legs and his feet basically done. Coming up to the top, you got these sections right here. They just tab in, so detach that. You can rotate this down just like so. Bring these two halves together just like so. These arms are going to swivel outward like that. Take this section here, bring this up, tab that into place, bring this down. This will tab into place and then straighten out his head. Take these arm sections, you angle these up, revealing his arm. Take this entire top section, collapse this. Now, some people will leave the fusion cannon like this. The official transformation shows you rotating it around like that. And then take this, same hand, or same thing as the other hand, kind of do that there as well. And there you have Megatron in his robot mode, and really a very cool looking robot mode, but he unfortunately does have some minor problems. They really did a great job of combining the look that he's got right now in the IDW comics and homaging that original G1 version, or character, I should say. But like I said, there are some things that I am really not a fan of. The biggest, people have complained about these joints. And yeah, they kind of are weird and ugly, but yeah, I can kind of get over them a little bit, I guess. I do wish I could extend them a little bit more. I mean, it's a very common problem, but you either have them out like that or like that. I want it more in the middle, like that. I wish I could do that, but you can't. And then the same exact thing here with the hips. You're either real in close like so, or you go one out, and that just looks way too far. So I do wish that the ratchets were a little bit better on here. I mean, this would be good if I could just spread it like that, but as it is, it's like so. The other thing is he kind of leans back a little bit. As part of this whole flexibleness, he kind of, I kind of want to leave him like this, but you can see he wants to lean back, and that's problematic for me. But all in all, the look of the figure is really good. Some people complain about this. He's got this big backpack here, and yeah, he kind of does, but again, it's as integrated nicely as I think that they could possibly do. Now, the Armada one looks even more ridiculous. You leave them out like that or something, and I guess you could kind of do that with this as well if you really wanted to. You don't have to leave it all the way back like that, going behind the head. And I think actually the Armada one, you put them up like that, but honestly, doing it like that, I think it looks pretty good, and it clears up some of that junk that was directly behind his head, and these are kind of hidden by his arm. So that I kind of dig that. You do have his arm right here. Some people have actually taken and made the cannon they rotate it around. Get this out of the way, put that there, and put the cannon like this. It does have a much more G1 look to it if the cannon's up like this, but I think that when it's tall like that, it kind of looks bad. I'm not a big fan of how that actually comes across. So I like the larger barrel down here, but I think that it just hangs up on the top a little bit too much, and I think that's a better look for it, I guess. You can't collapse this up anymore. I wish you could. That would kind of fix some of that problem, but and leaving it like that, actually, you get his waist. I'm learning all this stuff as I'm going along, but he does look really cool. Now, for some comparisons, here he is. And here's the Megatron that I have long used as my classic version, and that being the Henkei Voyager Classic figure, with obviously the more G1 color. He was a gun, and that was the last time that we got him as a gun, and basically it was just a Nerf gun. But one of my biggest problems I think that I have with this figure is I don't really know where I'm supposed to put this guy. In terms of classics, he's way too big. As a leader class figure, he towers over Optimus Prime, and the Voyagers were always really good together. So honestly, I think I'm going to leave this as my classics representation of Megatron, and instead maybe actually use him as a kind of masterpiece version of him. As you can see, for the height, they're just about the exact same height. Optimus is a little bit taller, but honestly, since I leave my Decepticons in a completely different shelf, it probably isn't going to matter that much. And all the other Decepticons are actually smaller here, like Soundwave and Starscream. So I think that's what I'm going to choose for this. Now, for his articulation, the head is on a it's not a ball joint, it's a swivel joint, and you do kind of have a big long neck right there, which is kind of weird. That doesn't collapse down or anything, but you can get it swiveling left and right, looking up and down. The shoulders do move in and out, they rotate, but obviously if you're going to have this here in the back, those are kind of going to get in the way, but I don't mind that all that much. He rotates here at the upper part, or I'm sorry, the elbow. He bends at the elbow as well, so nice full range of motion. The wrists do rotate. If you keep these treads off to the side like that, you actually do get waist articulation. When you bring these together, though, and they're locked together, it limits the articulation because these pieces right here kind of rub into each other. It's still there, but you're not getting a full range of motion with it, but I just like leaving it like that. The hips move forward, they move back. These pieces here on the side flare out so that you can angle that out, but the section here in the front doesn't move. He does rotate, and as you can see, it's kind of a neat rotation. It doesn't, the rotation is down here, but as you rotate it, you can see that this entire piece here actually rotates along with it, which is kind of neat. He bends here at the knee, but only that far, and then when you come down to the ankle, they move forward and back. One thing, I mean, and you can just see that the articulation is all there, but the posability is limited just because of the way that those joints are. And that's unfortunate, but the overall look is really spectacular. All the different G1 homages that they throw in there, the head sculpt is absolutely a wonderful representation of G1 Megatron. The chest very much is as well. Even when you come down here, one thing that I really dig is that the way that this is designed, it kind of looks like the handle in his gun. I mean, if you remember from all the G1 toys, his legs were the handle of the gun itself, and you had this black bit right here, and it's very much like that on here as well. I think that's a real cool touch. Whether or not they did that on purpose, I don't know. They probably did. They think about that kind of stuff. Now, you do have a couple options with this. I'm not using them, but it does come with some extra stickers. You can put them up on here, kind of replicating the weird swirly stickers that his G1 toy had, or because he, for whatever reason, is an Autobot also in the new IDW comics, you can replace the sticker here with an Autobot logo if you wanted to. So it's your personal preference, but I mean, I really do dig the guy. There are some problems, like I said, but all in all, I'm quite pleased with him. I think he turned out very well. I just don't, you know, obviously think I can put him in my classic display. There's just no way that I can put a Megatron towering over Optimus Prime like that. It doesn't work for me. But like I said, I think I did find my new masterpiece Megatron display option. Now to transform him back, we're going to take this section. You can rotate the head around. You don't have to rotate it around. You can if you want to. Just lift this up just like so. Detach this just like that. Take these sections, rotate those down, covering the hands just like that, bringing them together. Then you rotate this around and then tuck it down like so. Get these legs out of the way. Bring this in just like so. And then this, you got two tabs right here. You got a tab here and here that slot in, that hold the two halves together. So bring that around and you lock that in place just like so. You can bring this, straighten out the head, rotate these bits up and around, and then you can see little slots on the inside here that this tab will come around and lock into place. Do that on that side as well. Keep the legs straight like so. Bend the ankles up like that. Bend here at the knee. Well, not the whole hip. There we go. Get that. Keep that lower section straight. Rotate this up, and then you've got a little tab right there that's going to notch in right there. Push that in just like so. Do that on this side as well. Rotate that around, lock that into place, kind of straighten out his head. And then this can kind of be a bit of a pain in the butt. You got these little notches right on the inside here and here that you bring this around and you kind of tab these in just like so. So you got a total of 3 tabs. You got 2 that will now be on the top section, and then when you come around the bottom, the middle one sits on the lower section. So you do have that, and then you take this, extend that forward. You do have his guns. Like I said, I think it looks silly to have Megatron holding handguns, but you can put those right there, and I think that looks pretty cool. But all said and done, there you have Megatron back in his tank mode. Now, ultimately, when it comes down to it, I really do like the figure, but I'm not as gaga over this as some other people. I look at a lot of the comments on social media and other reviews and things like that, and people are treating this like it's the second coming of Christ or something ridiculous. But I mean, I do completely agree that it is probably the best Megatron that we've gotten in a very long time, but there's still a tremendous amount of room for improvement on this. And I think the bias in the fact that this is a really good Megatron figure is blinding them to some of those bad design choices. Tank mode here I think looks really good. It works very nicely, very simple, and comes together very beautifully. The paint on here, all the molded detail, is just ridiculously incredible on this. I mean, I could not ask for a better tank mode other than I wish I could make the actual turret rise up. That's probably my biggest nitpick on this particular aspect of the toy. The transformation is really good. I feel very satisfied when I do it. I just do wish it was a little bit more challenging. There's nothing really mind-blowing with the transformation, I feel. I mean, you almost don't even need the instructions. I mean, that's true with a lot of these new generation figures, I guess, but I just don't feel that this has anything super special. It's fun, don't get me wrong, but again, I just don't think it's as hyped up as everybody seems to make it. Then robot mode, that's probably the best look on him. Enough for me to actually say that I'm going to probably put him in my masterpiece shelf. So I mean, I really do like the way it looks. But those joints really do bother me. The shoulder, I can kind of get over that. That's not too bad. It's just the range of motion with it. I mean, you either have it like this or it's out like that. Same thing with the legs. So you can't really get some good poses with it. I mean, all the articulation is there. You just can't really utilize it all that much. And it's frustrating because there's a lot of cool poses that I would love to put them in, but you can't because it's either you click, click, click. I mean, whoa, that's very extreme. But don't get me wrong, despite those flaws that I think are in the figure, as I said, I really do feel that this is probably the best Megatron that we've gotten in a very, very long time. So without question, I highly recommend picking this up. He is slowly starting to trickle out to retail. So good luck and happy hunting. Or as always, there's Big Bad Toy Store. So all you have to do is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to BBTS where you can pick this up and add them to your collection today. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget that you can keep in touch with me by liking my Facebook page at facebook.com/TeamBotimus and by following me over on Twitter at twitter.com/Optibotimus. Also, I'd encourage you to check out my new website at optibotimusreviews.com, where you can see all my videos from the previous week, see what I have coming up for future release, and also get your very own Optibotimus t-shirt. Also, don't forget to check out Sabertron.com for all your Transformer news, as well as photo galleries on this and other Transformer figures. And finally, I'd also really appreciate it, guys, that if you like this review, don't forget to please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.
Autobots, transform and roll out! Class dismissed.